Hey, beautiful people. Just about to leave the car park. Just finished another day at work. Just doing my pre-takeoff checks. Swig of water. Check. Lip balm. Check. Snacks and beverages. We don't provide those things on This Week Airlines. What are you talking about? Bring your own. Bring your own snacks, beverages, and seatbelts. Packed up on the third level today because I don't know, Monday morning. I was a bit slow. I'm a bit slow leaving too, a bit late leaving. Exciting heights of Hobart Town, yes. We take you places you've never been before. Tasmania known for its natural beauty and wilderness. As you can see right now, we're driving through a concrete jungle that's absolutely hideous. Let's get out of here. So with breaking news, probably about 14 hours ago now. It's like 2 in the morning for me, so I woke up to it, but wasn't able to report on it. But a body found less than a mile from where Nicola Bulley went missing. Hey, Bristol. I'm not sure if you guys have been following her story, but I'm actually relieved if it is her that her partner, children, family and friends can now hopefully be given peace and quiet and can get on with grieving privately. If it's not her, it's unbelievably sad that that's happened to someone else. But if it is her, I do feel a huge sense of relief that this online harassment we talk about on this channel all the time might back the fuck off. I can't tell you how many channels I heard saying that they thought the husband or partner, civil husband really, let's be honest, was responsible. Oh, there's something dodgy about him. Tarot readers, making out that he was this snake. The usual stuff we hear and see with any case now. Online sleuths just have to turn everything into an absolute diabolical mess and create more victims over and over and over again. Are we going to hear any apologies? Is anyone going to go live and say that they misrepresented Paul and regret doing so? Hey, Wake the Truck Up. Hey, thanks for your comment. I actually got to respond to you during my lunch break. You were the only one that I could, but as you mentioned, will we be getting and seeing and hearing apologies? No. Will channels like mine grow because we are calling this stuff out? No. But this case, I had started doing a video, but I think because of the volume of offline harassment by the sleuth community is the worst I think I've seen. Like, people have actually, it's also the most positive in many respects too, because 2 people have been arrested. But there's also people that have bragged online about going to the town, the village, what's the word they use? Hamlet. And getting in people's backyards and they've been described as ghoulish, which is so spot on. They're not even worth being called sleuths. Like, these people are just absolute gore crows. That's a term that our lovely Cement Shoes uses. They are gore crows. They're ghoulish. Because even when this body was found, the police always rope off areas like that to protect the scene and so on. But, what, none of you are going to let me in? Wow, that's really, really lovely. Thank you so much. You're awesome. Lovely bus driver. A bus driver, of all people, let me in. Because, you know, good people drive buses. I need to, how do you know? I have to pinpoint you a bit. Are you still on this island? Are you like in traffic behind me? But yeah, good on Macquarie Street. Peak hours are shitter in Hobart now. I really love the days I work from home because I don't have to deal with this crap. But a very nice bus driver. I'm trying to read back to front his he's come from the Southern Outlet. Go, mate, go. Quick, quick, quick. See, I paid it. Well, come on. I paid it for it. Oh, it's a Queenslander. We'll forgive them. They don't know how to drive. Take your time, mate. Jesus Christ. You notice like cars that have to veer right when they're turning left, like they're in a horse and carriage or something? Yeah, look, it's survival of the fittest, dude. You just indicate and push in like I'm about to. Start driving like you're in New York. Oh, that was convenient. The car that I was hoping would give way to me, they were moving into another lane as well. That was like seamless transactioning. Yeah, so the latest report, even after they found this body, and it sounds like it could be Nicola's, the article also mentioned that the death tourists had arrived. Like people had gone to the scene where a dead body had been pulled out of a river to have a look. I am reporting live from the riverbank where a dead body has just been plucked out of a river. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm so sick of where this planet, like humanity, where are we heading? Into a ditch. Like the reporters had to say that a body had been found, and they included in the article that the death tourists had arrived at the scene. I mean, we know how deluded Bullhorn Betty is. We know how deluded JLR is. And we know that they have thousands of people watching them who are also deluded. These people all think they are on-the-spot reporters and sleuths of crimes. And they're nothing more than rubbernecking gore crow ghouls. Death tourists. It's a perfect one, isn't it? In fact, as you know, Wake the Truck Up, I've really struggled to come up with the word to describe them, but I've heard the term death tourist before. A friend of mine, Pete, who actually died of stomach cancer, sadly, a long time ago, like when his baby daughter was not even a year old, he used the term in a conversation about how when you're diagnosed with an illness, suddenly all these people who haven't been in touch with you for years come out of the woodwork and want to catch up. Or when you're actually gone at your funeral, all these randoms start rolling in, that, you know, people that haven't seen you for 3 decades or checked in on you or shown any interest in your life whatsoever. But my God, they love a chicken sandwich after a funeral, you know. So my mate Pete taught me death tourist. And I've never thought of using it in this context, but it's spot on. Because that's basically what these hills on the ground and all of their followers and these amateur sleuths who are nothing but harassers and creators of more victims. They haven't solved any crimes. Name a crime they've solved. And we've been watching this shit going on YouTube for nearly 5 years. Well, I have. Name one crime any of these pricks have solved. Creators or followers of those creators. They just want to be where the gore is. They just want to hashtag everything team foul play because they want every person who goes missing or dies to have died in a more hideous way than they already have. Oh, death vultures. That's a good one too. Like, I've been calling them sleuths and it's too complimentary. Way too complimentary. There's nothing sleuthing about them at all. They're pests. They latch onto whatever story is popular. You don't see any of them actually physically taking themselves to a location where someone who's been missing for 20 years was last seen and have a sniff around and see if they can find them, do you? No. Go onto YouTube, see what's trending. They'll be following that. They'll be flying to that location. They'll be there in the thick of it, trying to deliver reports like they're qualified journalists, and thousands of subscribers rolling in every time they go live, money at them, and to encourage them to keep up their awesome work. Where's the work? If I had enough subscribers donating money to me that I could just fly to anywhere in Australia where some shit's gone down and stand out the front offering a bullshit report using unverified facts and information, that would be my dream life. But I would never call it work. I'd call it a fucking junket and I'd milk it for all it was worth. No, I mean, I wouldn't. If I was a shithead, I would, but I'm not. Hey, Bowling with Cotton Balls, I love your name. Now, I'm a bit of a pain in the ass going live while I'm driving because I can't really read chat much. But I know that those of you in chat will greet anyone here that comes in. And if and when there's a bit of crawly traffic, I'll be able to have a quick glance. But I'm scheduling a live for tomorrow night. I'm preempting that by going live now because if it is indeed Nicola, I'm not going to let her die in vain. I'm going to go live and I'm going to call out the bullshit that I have seen happening all over YouTube. I've been following this case very closely. And I'm very aware of how many people have thrown her partner under the bus, the cops under the bus, the divers now been thrown under the bus, and internet sleuths have actually been arrested and charged in this case too, which is awesome news. And I just wish other countries in the world would do the same. If this sets a precedent, she did not die in vain. I mean, it's fucking horrible that somebody's life has ended. But if this brings about some more changes, and it seriously has to. Oh, death tourists don't hang around my channel very long at all, Bowling for Cotton Balls, because, oh God, I love your name. And I actually love Bowling for Columbine too. What a horrible, terrifying expose that documentary is. Holy shit. But Bowling for Cotton Balls is so cute. You know, I've got a friend who can't touch cotton balls. The texture makes her squeamish. Like, it's a legit phobia for her. She has a very negative reaction to touching a cotton ball. So what did, friends like me and my gang of merry men and women do for her birthday and stuff? There was always cotton balls, like presents wrapped inside boxes, completely surrounded by cotton balls. She couldn't even put rubber gloves on and touch them because just knowing, even though her hand was protected, that it was diving into a box full of cotton balls made her nauseous. I mean, we would open them for her, we'd pull them out and give them to her, but it was always fun. And when she started working, people would decorate her desk and office chair in cotton balls. But yeah, what about bowling for Columbine? Holy shit. And there's been more mass shootings in America, like double the amount of days they've been in a year. Absolute madness. And I'm not blaming the world. I can't stand it where people, the world's gone mad. No, certain people in the world have gone mad. Certain people on the planet have gone mad. You see comments after a mass shooting. What is going on in the world? Well, excuse me. It happened in your country because there's someone in your country who's fucked up and decided to do that. Don't blame the world. There's so much good shit happening in the world too. Why are you talking about what's going on with the world? All this great stuff is happening. Oh, you saw the interview on the behaviour panel. Yeah, and there was nothing suspicious at all. In fact, they pointed out all of the things in his statement that validated he was telling the truth. From memory, they were actually pointing out how compelling it was to show that he had nothing to do with it. But do you think the death tourists, even death tourists sounds a bit nice. Let's go with death vultures, because they are vultures. Once again, they ignored people who are professionally skilled and trained to analyse human behaviour, saying nothing dodgy here, next. And they ignored that and went on a rampage to have that man hung, drawn and quartered because it didn't seem right to them. Something's not right. Something's amiss. Like, you know how the cops have been criticised for putting out her recent issues with alcohol and problems with menopause and the welfare check? And they've been slammed for that, but not just by people online. I mean, the Prime Minister of England had something to say about it. But they put it out there to try and make the internet sleuths back off. They put it out there to explain why they didn't think there was foul play. They put that information out there to get people to just stop all of this theorising and speculating and victimising and blaming her partner, and it was very deliberate. And now the diver is being criticised for not finding her. She wasn't in the bit of water that he searched. Yes, her body's been found less than a mile from where she's been seen, but a mile is a lot. Like, it's 2.5 kilometres. And bodies, and I hate going down this graphic road, but bodies get snagged on things and stay underwater. It's very easy to miss someone. I mean, look, they missed Kylie Rodney. And this diver is now being abused online. The cops were there every day going up and down that river. They maintained from the start that she had gone in the river. and they didn't find her. But they've already been ripped to shreds. And now the diver's been ripped to shreds. Where's a body has been found, like a family is going to be able to give them the farewell they deserve and then grieve in private. Why aren't people seeing the positives of this? Why do people always have to find someone to criticise and make more victims? Hey, Green Eyes, yeah, I heard that too. What a scummy friend, right? Selling information like that to the media. Like, who needs friends like that? And this is where I'm just so gobsmacked. Is human behaviour. This online, offline, inverted commas, community of people who are just rotten to the core. They're soulless. They don't give a fuck about other people. They're lacking any empathy. They're all in it for dollars and views and clicks. And they're quite happy to create more and more. Every story now that becomes popular on YouTube, I feel sick because I know that there are going to be a heap of new victims. I mean, I've lost count of how many new victims were created with the Idaho Fork murders. And even with Nicola's story, so many people and all these untrained, inexperienced assholes who all they've got to muster is the capacity to turn on a fucking computer and type on a keyboard, know better than everyone else, and are quite openly critical and scathing of every person involved. What the fuck have they done for our community in the last 24 hours? Have they volunteered? Have they donated something? Have they put their hands up to join search parties? I'm only able to glance at the comment that you just wrote, Green Eyes, but Armchair Detective has photos, telling people he has photos. Yeah, gross. So they'll all keep tuning in because they'll want to see that. Like, oh, fuck, it makes me sick. I mean, as a criminal lawyer, I've had to see photos of dead people. It was part of my job. But I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I wouldn't encourage people to seek photos of that stuff. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there's gazillions of websites you can look at autopsy photos and all of that sort of stuff. And if you want to go down that road, if that sort of stuff intrigues you, I'm not going to tell you can't look at that stuff. But I'd never go on YouTube and say, I have exclusive photos of a corpse. Make sure you will tune in tomorrow to see it. Like, vom. And people will tune in to see it because there's all these vommy people out there now. They are vomit. Yeah, I bet their fake accounts of Paul all over the place. No doubt about it. Look at how quickly Brian Koberger fake profiles popped up all over the place. And to me, like from every case that I've followed, something I learned very early on is the cops are so quick to shut down people's social media if they get arrested. So if suddenly all these screenshots are being put out like 3 or 4 days later, you know they're bullshit. No, exactly. And unfortunately, I do know what a body that's been in the water for 3 weeks looks like. And Yeah, I mean, with Kylie Rodney, that fucking horrible little gimp boy, that little shithead that built his channel on sucking up to Molly Golightly. Didn't he like slow down the diving video and try to make out, that where Kylie was so they could all zoom in and look at her body in the car? There is no dignity in death, but there's even less now that internet fuckwits think that this is great viewing, and it makes me sick. Yeah, it's not pretty, is it, Green Eyes? And no thought spared how traumatic it must be for the rescuers to have to retrieve bodies in that condition and how that impacts them. And yet they've still got to go home and be strong for their spouses and their children and their family members day in, day out. They don't give a fuck about any of that. Like, I mean, out of respect for them and the work that they do and the trauma that they deal with on a daily basis, I would never show anything like that on my channel. Because I don't believe in creating more victims. And when you show shit like that, that's what you're going to do. It's unavoidable. People are going to be traumatized by that stuff. I ummed and ahed 1,000 times about showing Kylie Rodney's car going into the water because all I could think of was what must have been going through her mind in those last moments of her life. And I did ask my subscribers to be really like discerning about whether or not they were going to watch it. And I only played it once, but I played it because it was incredibly important to show that that is what happened and to try and get the team foul play people to shut the fuck up. But I really, really pondered whether or not to show that. Hey, Miss Kay. And I decided to make the decision on the proviso that I warned everyone because it bugged me. I'd seen it once already and I knew how it affected me. And I've seen some pretty hideous stuff in my professional life and private life, but primarily in my professional life. I mean, if you're a criminal defence lawyer, my God, you see everything. And it can be really tough. But that was still a pretty innocent thing to share with my channel. I certainly wouldn't be showing photographs of a body that's been submerged in water for 3 weeks on my channel ever. Because I think about, hey, Francesca, I think about the rescuers and what it's like for them. And they're trained, mind you, I mean, unfortunately, I don't think they get adequate training. The line of law, the area of law I work in now, there's a lot of psychological injuries and PTSD in all of the first responders, fireys, ambos, cops, you name it. But some of them do have workplaces that are very responsible and provide a lot of training and counselling for them to learn how to process that sort of stuff. Same with doctors, nurses, vets, animal vets, probably army vets as well. But it's not okay to be putting footage and graphic photos like that out there to everyday people. Nope, they don't have any ethics or a moral compass at all. I'm just going to run into Guns and Smokes and buy myself some guns. I'll be back in 11 seconds. Just welcome anybody else who cruises in. my God, we've got an extra person. Smokes and guns. Common sense and decency isn't sexy enough. Yeah, that's what I say all the time. That's why my channel won't grow, because A, I don't self-promote very well at all. B, I don't jump on every other panel imaginable and suck up to bigger creators to get my channel promoted by them. Why don't we have a Real Housewives show? We should. We should. So, yeah, I'm preempting a live I will be doing tomorrow. No, you can't bowling with cotton balls at all. We've got very, very strict gun control here, but we do have guns. But to get one, like this area that I live in is primarily, even though it's coastal, it's rural. Yeah, common sense and decency is very sexy to me too. Plus, I don't tell you guys, share out my videos and tell everyone about me. You know, I'm not a great self-promoter, but even if I was, people would be like, oh, she's too reasonable. She sticks to the facts like OG true crimers. She's got ethics and morals. She's a lawyer, and we don't like listening to people that have knowledge about the things we like to discuss ad nauseum. We'd rather see JLR buying books in Walmart and making a connection to one of the surviving victims of the Idaho massacre, telling us stuff about the court system that's incorrect. We'd rather watch him than tune into people that might be able to explain what a probable cause affidavit is if we want to know what it is. So, yeah, we do have gun shops here. That's a cigarette shop. I just call it Guns and Smokes because it's next to the gun shop. But to get a gun here, the process to get a license is incredibly full on. And you've got to have a reason to own a gun. And farmers do have reasons to own guns because we've got a vermin problem. We've got shitloads of kangaroos and they eat all of the grass, and the farmers, sheep and cattle and goats and alpacas go hungry. You can also own a gun if you're a cop or if you're a professional shooter, like you perform in sporting events as a marksman. But that's it, pretty much. Like, I wouldn't qualify to get a gun because I don't need one. I can't justify owning one. But we were able to bring in incredibly strict gun control after a really horrific massacre that happened here in Tasmania. In fact, it was down at Port Arthur, and if we keep going on the highway that I'm on for about an hour, we'll get to Port Arthur. And there was a massive gun amnesty and people handed back their guns, and we don't have mass shootings here. Although, I mean, once in a blue moon, a farmer might take his whole family and himself out with his gun, you know, like a family annihilator sort of horrible scenario. But the only reason we were able to do it is because at that point in time, there weren't more guns than people in Australia, and we don't have a right to bear arms in our constitution. America, on the other hand, has more guns than people and the right to bear arms in the Constitution. So gun control, like what was introduced in Australia, just will not work in America. And I'd never suggest that it should because it's idiotic. But I do think that stricter requirements to be able to purchase a gun would be a good place to perhaps have a look at what can be done in that area. But yeah, you guys are far way beyond gun control. It's looking at restrictions. I mean, shooters go into gun-free areas in America, so, you know, that doesn't work. You're a baby, Wake the Trucker. I was studying in Adelaide, and friends of mine who lived overseas who knew I'm Tasmanian rang to check that I was okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually along. So, yeah, Port Arthur, 65 kilometres down the road from here. But I remember the story unravelling, and I also remember, like, Who magazine back in the day was a great magazine. Like, they actually did a lot of good reporting and good journalism, as well as having amazing photographs, not of Port Arthur, but, you know, they had really top-notch photographers as well. And there was a bit of a media blackout here because so many people had connections to victims. There's not many people that live in Tassie, especially in this area, that didn't know at least one person who was either killed or injured or who worked there and now is living with PTSD. So the media coverage here was incredibly minor, but it was also minor so that if he pleaded not guilty, they'd be able to get an impartial jury and his right to a fair trial. But it turns out that he ended up pleading guilty. But that's the lengths that the Australian media have to go to because of our privacy laws to guarantee a safe course of justice. But in Adelaide, the Who magazine article that was here, I came home to see my mum because she was living with cancer, and she showed me the article, and I was like, I've got a Who magazine that's got like a 10-page spread on it. I'll send it home. So I did, and Mum couldn't believe the amount of information that was available in the rest of the country. But down here it was very minor what was put out. I'm going to stop down at the beach just for a few minutes just so I can quickly read chat because I've got a nice little gang here. And yeah, I'll set up a live for tomorrow. Oh, hang on a sec. It might be, shit, I've got such a week. I'll have a look in my beach and I'll schedule it. I'll let you know. So, but I will do a live because I started doing a video about the sleuthing, harassment, and creating more victims and leading to people actually being charged and arrested. Bring it on. And then I thought, no, it's better to just do a live and have a look at it all. I will still do a video for her. I want to do one for every case where the sleuths are creating more and more victims, and I'm still going to soldier on with defending Dylan as well. But I kind of, when I do a bounce around YouTube, I kind of get a bit nervous before I look and see what case is being covered, because I know if I see the case of a new name, I know that there are going to be more victims created. And that's just horrifying. And with every case, it gets worse and worse. I'm just really impressed that in England, they're not fucking around. They're like, fuck you. I mean, they called them ghoulish social media users. They've specifically identified TikTokers and YouTubers. And they're being very vocal about how much this is damaging not only the course of justice, but also what it's doing to the family, partner, and friends and children of victims. And these people don't give a shit. We all know. Oh, wait a minute. We've got hard rubbish coming. Is that 2 recliners on the side of the road? Oh, my God, it is. We have a thing called hard rubbish here. We don't leave our rubbish out on the street. It does get collected. So for anyone watching going, why does everyone in Tasmania have shit on the footpath? It's there to be collected by our council. Part of our council rates include hard rubbish. So like here on the left, someone's put out a set of 5 chairs. And if you see things you like, you're perfectly entitled to pull over and shove them in the back of your car. I've got a dresser in my house that was a hard rubbish score, and it's the coolest thing ever. It's this 70s dresser that everyone's grandparents seem to own one. And it fits perfectly in my living room. Ozzy Trisha! Can I go live? Well, I don't own one. I do have a very beautiful 1.5 seat love seat, very deep. You can curl up in it and fall asleep in it. It's that big and deep. It's beautiful, called Ruby. I could go live from Ruby, but I'll fall asleep in the first 5-10 minutes. Like every person and animal that gets on Ruby is out like a light so quickly. So good to see you, Aussie Trisha. I also didn't do anything over the weekend because I had a very packed weekend, but also it was the 2-year anniversary of Biscuit's death, and I was absolutely emotionally bereft. Live from a random recliner on the street. I'll have to wear a friggin' hazmat suit because I always look at them and think, that recliner be full of fleas. Daybeds are the best. Mind you, I've got Ruby's Divine, and then I've got a 7-foot 1970s style with the floating armrests couch that you guys see in the background when I go live. And her name is Scarlett, and she's divine. And if you take the cushions off her king-size single bed, she's beautiful. Uh-oh, don't look, there's a van for sale. Tempting. Every time I see a van, I'm like, Tori, no, you can't get a van. You have Sunny, and Sunny would be an absolutely useless van cat. I've already got my dinner cooked for tonight. That's why I'm coming down here, because I don't need to get home and start cooking dinner. And Sunny can wait for her dinner for another 10 minutes. Gotta love a real estate agent just deciding to park where you're not meant to. Loser. Oh, there's a bit of a swell happening here. Yeah, recliners remind me of her too. Remember that hard rubbish weekend that I went driving around and we got 55. We saw 55 recliners on the side of the road. 55. And I was only live for like an hour and a half. Emily Fletchilla, hello, beautiful. Hello to anyone. Tom Tremaine. Nobody loves you. Chuck the love seat away. Oh, Tom. You don't get it, mate. Ruby's better when it's just you. I mean, it's not even really a love scene. It's just like an oversized armchair. Nobody loves you. Tom Tremaine, you belong here. Witty and brutal. Stick around, mate. Have I missed any other people? Stay out of UK affairs, you parasite. Okay, Tom, you're actually a wanker. Don't stick around. I'm defending one of your citizens. Go and harass the bloody death vultures of YouTube. I think Tom needs to do a poo. He sounds like someone who didn't do a poo this morning. How come no one in chat's acknowledging? I am, yes. How come no one's acknowledged the cheery Tom? You've all ignored him. Parasite, that's a good insult too. You parasite. Yeah, well, you can stay out of... I mean, what a stupid comment. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I choose to be interested in world issues. Sorry that my view on life isn't as limited as yours. Where'd Tom go? Tom's just trying to be... Well, I thought Tom was funny till I saw his first comment, and then I'm like, no, he's just a wanker. But yeah, Biscuit. Very sad I was. I cried a lot. He's a wanker. Poor Tom. You didn't notice? No. Initially, I thought he was quite entertaining. Does he have you all blocked? I don't think he'd have the energy to do that. You're going to call him a wanker. Well, he is. I mean, look. Yeah, beautiful. I know. And I watched that video that I made for her and I just sob. I'm just hopeless. You know, and I look at Sunny and I think Biscuit had to leave for Sunny to find me and for me to find her and, you know, but it was just that deep, awful pain. And that's why I'll continue to speak out about all of the death vultures on YouTube and other social media platforms, whatever country they're in. Thank you very much, Tom Tremaine. This is Prince Frederick Henry Bay. And if you look out there to the horizon, that heads out into the Tasman Sea. And if you went in that direction long enough, you'd collide with New Zealand. Some good waves out there. They never look very big for you guys because you guys are like on a panoramic view. Tom, I eat. Time for you to leave the... Well, he can stick around if he can, you know, get a little bit witty and calm the fuck down. She was sweet. And Emily, there's a mural that's been done on a water tank. We just drove past it by the artist who did the mural of Biscuit in town. Jarman was commissioned to do a mural on a water tank. It was an arts grant and it's beautiful. And I said to Jarman, I can't believe it. Like, not only did you immortalise Biscuit in a fabulous mural, but now I've got a Jarman original down in the hood where I live. Yeah, they did have an earthquake. And it's pretty bad too. You can picture the swells. Well, there are swells. But even when if I'm on the beach and I sit on the beach and point the camera out to the water while we're chatting, oh, look, I mean, Oh, how big. The one that's about to break is probably 2 meters, but this beach never gets like giant. Well, actually, it does get some pretty big ones, but it's a shallow beach. But the reason it's a good one is they're constant. Like they just keep coming. So if you don't catch one, then the next one's only a few seconds behind. But I was on my board yesterday and the waves were getting quite big and then it just went complete. It was so interesting because there were more surfers at the beach yesterday than I've seen in the entire time I've lived here, down here. And everyone was having the best time and there was a lot of noise. And then it just went completely dead calm for about 4 or 5 minutes. And it was so weird. Like we're all just out in the water and there's just total. That one that's coming up behind is about 3.5, 4 meters. Quite big. This one that's about to break. That's a big one. Oh, the earthquake. I don't actually know. It was in an article that I looked at yesterday. I can't recall. But friends of mine in New Zealand were actually discouraging some friends that they've got that are coming to stay with them this week. They were saying, I mean, come if you want to get your hands dirty and help, but it's messy. But I haven't seen any updates on that today. There's a lot to follow at the moment. But there's a wave that's like building at the moment, and it's probably close to 5 meters. Yeah, some of them are quite big. Yeah, they are pretty impressive, but I mean, they're bigger today than they were yesterday. Yes, yesterday had good sized waves, but then yeah, it just went completely dead calm and flat. And I reckon there would have been, I don't know, 200 surfers all within earshot of each other, and it just went deathly quiet. Like nobody said a word. Everyone was just like, huh? 5.7. Thanks, Miss K. See, I got people that can answer questions almost instantly. Just going to teach you all the surfers code. Give respect to gain respect. I love this beach. I love living at this beach. It's my soul. It's my happy place. It's a different beach every day. And people who surf or boogie board or kite surf or just like beaches, like it's just the happiest community. You go for a walk on this beach first thing in the morning before you have to go to work in town and you've already said hi to 20 happy people and met 30 happy dogs. Like, it's a great way to start your day. Everyone looks out for each other here. Everyone's really thoughtful. We all pitch in as a community. Anyone in need gets rescued and looked after. It's just one of those places where everyone is respectful and reasonable and kind. Yeah, it is beautifully peaceful. Did any of you just check out those little surfer boys? It is gorgeous. I wonder if you can get it. You can get it. Um, your family live over there, New Zealand. Mary's and Pakaya's. How do you Pakeha? Just say jandals. That's one Kiwi word that absolutely cracks me up is they call thongs. Oh, sorry, flip. Okay, so flip-flops in America. In Australia, we call them thongs. What you guys call thongs, we call G-strings, G-bangers. And then I'm just going to give these guys a little bit of room. I mean, they can get out, but I'm just going to move over a bit because they're a bit close. And then in New Zealand, flip-flops / thongs are called jandals. Check out boys younger than your kids. Good girl. Oh, there's a surfer like me, no wetsuit. I'm one of those idiots too. One of my besties in high school lived in Lewisham. I spent all summers down there. Oh, wake the truck up. I wonder, do we know each other? God, some of the waves are getting really big now. I'd get complete. I mean, they're total dumpers too. But I don't know if it's close enough for you to see, like when they first break, there's a lot of froth, but there's this sort of aquamarine blue colour through the glassy bits of the water. My God, it's pretty. It might just look grey to you guys. They're white New Zealanders. Aha. Ding-ding-loo. Aloha. Yeah, chili beans, isn't that cute? I do like that too. Hey, Michelle P. You've been so busy, work. Well, good to see you, Gorge. So good to see you. Yeah, so hang on, I'll get my diary and see if we can work out. It's actually, I don't know if I'm going to be able to work out a time because it's all going to depend on Finn. Hang on, let me see. I've got a couple of messenger messages. Let me see. No, my sister and Music Central. Okay. If Finn wants to do batshit on Wednesday morning, I'll do it straight after that. Otherwise, I'm thinking, hang on, I'll actually open my diary before I commit to anything because I've got appointments all over the place. This week is really feral. But yeah, I do want to do a Okay, well, in the absence of knowing what Finn's up to, Wednesday morning is no good for me. Wednesday afternoon, probably like from 1 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time onwards, is when I'm going to be able to do a live for Nicola. Or I can do tomorrow night, but it's going to be a late one because I'm out. And I don't know if I'll be in the mood. Like it could be a 9:30, 10 p.m., 10:30 sort of start. So if it's not tomorrow night, it'll be Wednesday early afternoon. Just having a look at all of the hideous death vultures behaviour with this case, like with so many we've already seen and sadly will continue to until people are held to account, and charged. Oh, well, I've been just talking about the death tourists / death vultures of social media that continue to create new victims from every horrible death that happens in, places all over the world, as long as it's trending on YouTube. Because I still haven't seen a lot about the Iranian girl who was murdered by her father, who had a YouTube channel. been covered at all. They only do the trendy stuff. But I've been chatting about Nicola Bulley because the body's been found. It hasn't been positively identified. If it is her, I'm so happy for her. I mean, I'm not. It's a horrible outcome, but I'm happy that her family and partner and kids will be able to give her a farewell and they're not wondering where she is anymore, and then hopefully be left to grieve in peace. But I'm also horrified at what they've been put through in the last 3 weeks. Just my usual approach to cases online now, Lindy Lou. You think you have a doctor's appointment. It is heartbreaking and it is maddening. It is. But at least in the UK, they've arrested and charged a TikToker. There were the 2 people who sent the parish councillors abusive messages. There was a YouTuber who stupidly, in fact, there might have been 2 that reported they'd been in people's backyards with torches. Yeah, they've been arrested and charged as well. I agree, Lindy Lou. If it is her, of course, but it does sound very likely it's her. I listened to that video on the Iranian girl last week after taking a friend to the airport. It was tragic. It was. Thank you for listening to it. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So weird, isn't it? Because I'm critical of channels not showing an interest in things that are happening around the world, and Tom Tremaine comes in and has a crack at, wow, there's a wave out there now that's got to be close to, no, maybe 5 meters. Thought it might have been closer to 6. It's hard to tell. The best way I can gauge the size of a wave is being in the water and having it coming towards me. Oh, batshit. Yeah, well, I won't be doing batshit Wednesday morning. I don't know Finn's schedule. He lets me know. But he usually lets me know like an hour before. He's like, yo, Groover, you ready for the show? And I'm like, could you maybe tell me, like last week, he was so tired after his shift that he didn't even say when we'd be doing it this week. Normally he makes a point at the end of the show. So yeah, I've got no idea. One day someone's going to be pushed too far. We're all going to be witnesses to something horrific on a live stream. Yeah, true. Although I kind of feel like we already are, you know. I mean, the Bullhorn Betty bullshit going on outside Quinton Simon's family home, outside the laundries. And look, irrespective of what has come out since then, at the time, what they were doing, especially with the laundries, like nobody knew. I can't get over that photo of Gabby and how that was on her phone when they did that. The cops spoke to her and Brian, and like how that sliding doors moment, how easily she could have been rescued and saved and wasn't. I'm sure those cops will live with that guilt for the rest of their lives. Oh, thanks, Emily. Grizzly said she was contacted by NB. I don't know who NB is. And Paul's friend confirmed it was. Oh, no, well, Grizzly. Oh, sorry, Nicola and Paul's friend. Yeah, I checked before I got in my car an hour ago and there was no confirmation. So I know that Grizzly is in contact with people closely connected to Nicola, but I still have to verify, and I checked right before I went live and it wasn't confirmed, so that's why I didn't say that. But I mean, It looks most likely that it is, but I'm pretty careful with what I put out on my channel as being a fact. You have Russia-related YouTubes. Hey, did you watch? I fell asleep. I got really tired. I had a big Sunday and Saturday. But did you watch Bear Grylls in the Ukraine? I'm going to have to watch the rest of it. It was really interesting. Yeah, but Twitter release of what? Like, was it from an official source? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's not true, Miss K. I just don't, if I can't verify it myself, I just don't say anything. Like, I'm sure that there are plenty of channels saying it's her, but when I got in my car an hour ago before this live, I did a quick check before I went live to see if it had been confirmed by an official source, and I didn't find one. Yeah, and the police are copping abuse. It's just, oh. Anyway, we'll do a live and we can all talk about, once again, how people on social media just seem to have a hunger and a thirst for creating more victims, as if 1 or 4 isn't already enough. I'll definitely look into it too, Miss K, when I get home. But yeah, I err on the side of caution. It's the lawyer in me. Unless I've seen it with my own beady eye, I'm not going to put it out there as fact. I said I'd sit here for like 5 minutes. Half an hour later, I'm still here. But I will head off shortly. I also want to do a rant at some point about this fucking Married at First Sight show. Well, it might have been Miss K. I've been live, so I haven't been able to check. I don't know what you're... Is there a point I'm missing? Because if it has been verified while I've been live, then that's good, you know. But I'm cautionary. I can't be live talking about people being irresponsible on social media platforms and then be what I deem to be irresponsible too. Oh, that wave then that's breaking now, that's a 6 metre for sure. Sweet dreams, Emily. Yeah, don't get wound up. Put your gadget down. We'll see you soon, beautiful. Oh my God, they know experts. Well, I watch it on Twitter and I have opinions. Oh, I do. I love Survivor. I do watch that. Not officially. Okay, cool. I mean, well, not cool, but sweet dreams, Emily. No, I read the Twitters, Lindy Lou. Don't judge me. I'm a social media patroller. But I just stumbled across something that happened in Married at First Sight that's a bit annoying. Well, very, I think. There was a woman on this season who was essentially verbally and emotionally abusing a man, her inverted commas husband. And from what I can gather, there are 2 men at least that are also equally as toxic and hideous. And the men were called out quite harshly for their behaviour, but she seemed to just get a little slap on the wrist. I mean, admittedly, they let her husband leave the show, and said they hadn't seen a relationship like that and they weren't going to allow it to continue. But I'm a bit irritated if it's true that a female abuser is given a little slap on the wrist, whereas the boys that are doing equivalent stuff are being called out on it. No judgment. Thanks, gorgeous. G'day, Groover. How are you, cement cheese? So yeah, I want to look into that because that's really annoying to me if that's what happened. Because you guys all know how I feel about male victims of abuse and they need a voice. And if she was abusing this guy, then she should have been called out and reprimanded and spoken to sternly as the men were. Why wasn't she? Hey, Miss K watches it because I know who Lyndall is. She's the cystic fibrosis girl, right? It's on at the same time as Survivor, and I'm a huge Survivor addict. So I can't watch it, but I do follow it on the Twitters. And that was the talk over town overnight. So yeah, I'm looking into that because although domestic violence is very much a gendered issue and unfortunately the majority of victims are female, there are male victims, and I've been vocal about that on my channel. And I don't think it's okay if there were 3 abusive people in this series and the men were called out and really like made to explain their bullshit behaviour and then told that it was bullshit behaviour, then why wasn't she? Oh, and there's a Tasmanian bride joining it on Sunday, I think, too. Can't see any confirmation, just that Paul put out a statement. Yeah, I read his statement about being in agony. How heartbreaking is that? And channels as recently as last night that I was listening to were saying he did it and he was behind it and he's a piece of shit and all the usual stuff. It just won't stop. These people online are vile. Thank you, Lindy Lou. Yeah, they need a voice as well, you know. I mean, acknowledging it's a gendered issue and that we really do need to fucking fix what's happening in Australia with husbands primarily murdering their wives. There was a woman only a week ago that was, I think, finally sentenced for murdering her husband. Like, it does happen in reverse. And those male victims do deserve a voice as well. But to push the issue that many women are facing doesn't mean that men aren't being acknowledged. But the reality is, you know, there's one, I mean, were you guys in my live that day that I had the ticker on that showed how many times people were reporting domestic violence to the cops? It's like 1 every 2 minutes. And they're just the ones that get reported. Josh White had a kiss with, a kiss. Well, there you go. So then she's not with whatever his name is then. I haven't heard of the Vault of Truth. I'll look into that. Don't get me started, Mass, my ex-husband. We're still legally, season 8. Is it? Wait, what season are we in? Who? Spill the beans. Oh, no, you probably don't. You don't need to dox yourself, but holy shit. You're very much innocent until proven guilty. Hey, look, I have an incredibly heavy job. The last thing I want to do is bury myself into some friggin' drama. And honestly, like, the amount of time it took me to recover from every episode of The Handmaid's Tale that I watched, I need if I want mindless telly. But Survivor this year, oh my God, the Australian Survivor has had the best tribal council in any Survivor ever. And true Survivor fans the world over agree it was, without a doubt, it's the one where George, his strategy was incredibly good and it worked. And yeah, it's a ripper. But that's my thing, and I've always loved Survivor. It's been my show for so long. But yeah, after days like today where I've dealt with people with psychological injuries all day, I really need stuff that makes me feel better. And reality shows like Maths definitely does. But it clashes with Survivor, so I will have to have another live because I do. It's 6:30. I've got to go home and feed my floof and me and get ready for Survivor. That's my Monday night indulgence after a shitty day at work. Well, not shitty, just heavy. And another heavy day tomorrow with my first client at 9. You were talking about Nicola. Oh, hang on. I can't keep up now. I can only scroll back so far on StreamYard on my phone. So yeah, I'm losing it. I'm going all over the shop. It's too hard. There's too many conversations. I've just finished work. My brain is not braining very well. There's some tea. Apparently you can still get married on live TV when you're still married. It's not a real marriage, though. We all know that. It's more of a commitment. They don't say the vows that make it a legally binding marriage. But there is some good tea. I like it. Maybe we need to do a reality show live soon too. We can all just talk about that stuff. Because I got into the second season of MasterChef and then pulled out. But guys, I'm going to go feed my floof. And that's, for those of you who don't know, it's my cat. It's nothing sexual. I think we do need to do a reality. And I want people who hate reality shows to come in and give me a hard time. And I'll defend myself viciously, ferociously. Thank you, Dalsy Tricia. You're welcome, Bowling with Cotton Balls. Great to have you here. Maths is scandal after scandal. More to come. Stay tuned. My mother loves the crap. Well, look. It's one of the most viewed shows around. Like people that have countries that have their own version of Maths watch the Aussie one. So, you know. Yeah, well, you're welcome to come and be miserable sod, cement shoes. Bring it on. I'm going home so I can eat my dinner, feed my cat, watch me some Survivor, go to bed, and then get up and do my work all over again. Why can't we just get paid for being fabulous? I hate having to work. Yeah, it was really good to see you, Lindsay Lou, and everyone else. Even you, Tommy Tremaine, you bunch of happiness. Do a poo, mate. You'll feel better. I promise you. But thanks for hanging out, everyone. And keep an eye out. But yeah, sometime on Wednesday, I want to have a good old discussion about the horrific death vultures of social media. Survivor tonight, Tom gets booted from the island. I saw that and I was like, no spoilers. Apparently the guy tonight drops the ring. Well, wasn't a ring was dropped or taken off yesterday. I saw that on the Twitters. Yeah, me neither, Francesca. Well, I mentioned gore crows before, but we've moved on, man. It's death vultures. I'm not holding back anymore. Calling it for what it is. I did say gore crows earlier. Rewind. I even credited you for teaching me that. But I'm out of here. So look after yourselves, and until next time, don't get hit by, don't get struck by a smooth criminal. Bye, everyone.